Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me for Tips and Tea with Linnea FNP. I am Linnea Baker. I am a board certified family nurse practitioner, as well as a certified health and well-being coach. I am so grateful for each of you who showed up today to listen in, and I hope this brings you value. And coincidentally, today's topic is gratitude prescription, the healing power of a thankful heart. And the reason I picked that topic is because there's so much research now around being grateful, and it is part of a holistic health and wellness journey and something I incorporate daily. And we're going to talk about how I do that in my own personal health journey and health and wellness journey. And it's something I coach as well. It's part of actually my certification for coaching. And I thought, what better time to talk about being grateful and having gratitude than the week of Thanksgiving? So that's what we're going to dive into today. And like I said, I am grateful for each of you who continually plug in and listen to these presentations. And I do hope they bring you value in your life. All right, today I'm drinking a tizzy, so it's my detox tea with a natural energy fizz stick. It is amazing. So I'm going to enjoy that while we kind of get together and talk about this topic in a little more detail. All right, so we often hear about the importance of gratitude in our lives, but did you know that a grateful heart can do wonders for your health? How many of you knew that just the practice of gratitude and being grateful actually has huge impacts on your health? So today we're going to talk about the healing power of gratitude. Guys, this is something that doesn't cost anything and has a huge impact on your overall health and well-being. It goes so much further and beyond just appreciation when we talk about gratitude, and it truly is a prescription for a healthier and happier life. So first, we want to understand gratitude. What is gratitude, right? What exactly is it, and how is it different than just simply saying thank you? Powerful. So first, and I posted this on my Facebook and my Instagram, but it's not happiness that brings you gratitude. It is gratitude that brings us happiness. I'm not sure who the author is of that quote, but it's a powerful quote. And I wanted to start with that. Gratitude is what brings us happiness. Happiness does not bring us gratitude. Interesting, right? When you think about it and you stop and you actually process this, because we're all in that busy life, journey, and we have to stop and be present with our family and those we love, and being present and being grateful and being in the moment, the present moment, and focusing on all that we have instead of what we don't have is very powerful on a health journey. Okay. So gratitude is more than being polite or having good manners. It's actually a deeper appreciation for the positive aspects of life. It involves recognizing and acknowledging the good things that we have, even in the midst of challenges. That's the key. Things can be going wrong, but even when we're faced with challenges and obstacles, it's having a grateful heart. And so while we say thank you, and that's a gesture of gratitude, the essence of gratitude extends beyond words. It's actually a mindset. We talk about mindset and mindfulness and minding your mind all the time in the journey I've been on and in things I share on my holistic health journey and things that I educate and coach to others. So gratitude is an actual mindset. It's so much more than words. And it's being able to be grateful even in the challenging times, finding the things to be grateful for. I can tell you an example of that. When my son, I told you it was about a little less than 3 years ago, when he was diagnosed with a stage 3 soft tissue cancer, we were put in the pediatric department at Walter Reed for his treatment with oncology because he was under 30 years old. And as bad as his cancer was at that moment and all the unknowns that we faced, when we walked into that clinic and saw babies and toddlers with their parents going through cancer treatment for their different cancer diagnoses. When you want to talk about having a grateful heart that my son was 25 and not a baby or 4 years old, both of us were grateful in that moment. So even though we were facing a challenge, we were grateful that he was 25 and not a baby or a toddler. That's finding gratitude in the hard. We were grateful that he had the health insurance he had and the amazing treatment and medical team he had at Walter Reed to take care of him. We were grateful that I had a medical background and could be there to take care of him. So you see, we had something so challenging facing us. And I'm not saying we didn't have moments where, we broke down, or we were angry, or we were really sad, or my son went through a period of maybe being depressed or anxious or whatever that may be, because you go through all the emotions when you have an illness like that, right? But in the hard, we focused more on gratitude and positivity. Because I will tell you, when I've worked in medicine for all these years, going, was it over 26 years now? Gosh, that dates me. 26 years. But I've always told my patients and their families that medicine is an art. And yes, there's science that backs it, but the mindset, there's so many miracles that happen in medicine and we can't explain. And a lot of it comes down to mindset and your faith and other things that are outside of what we do in medicine. It's holistic. It's all of it. So mindset is so important in so many areas. And according to Harvard Health, the actual word gratitude is derived from the Latin word gratia. I believe it's pronounced gratia, which means grace, graciousness, or gratefulness, depending on the context. And in some ways, gratitude actually encompasses all of these meanings. And gratitude is a thankful appreciation for what an individual receives, whether tangible or intangible. With gratitude, people acknowledge the goodness in their lives. In the process, people usually recognize that the source of that goodness lies at least partially outside of themselves. As a result, being grateful also helps people connect to something larger than themselves as individuals, whether to other people, nature, or a higher power. So see, when I talk about the spiritual realm of it, the environment around you, or the other people in your life. So when you're being grateful, it actually shifts the focus from ourselves onto others. So our focus goes from inward to outward focused. Okay. That's how powerful the practice of gratitude is, guys. So next, we want to talk about the science behind gratitude and what does science tell us about the impact of gratitude on our physical and mental health. Guys, it's so powerful. You're going to be blown away by all the things that you can do for your health and wellness, mentally and physically, just by practicing gratitude, which is free. It's free. It takes practice and it takes redirection, because I'm not saying we don't sometimes go in the not being grateful and looking at the obstacle or focusing on what's called the gap. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. I have a really good book I'm reading on that. But when you can redirect your brain and catch yourself and focus on the gain or or being grateful, it's phenomenal. So research actually indicates that cultivating gratitude has numerous health benefits. The physical benefits of gratitude are improved healing. So when my husband was in the hospital for surgery recently for an emergency gallbladder surgery, I was so grateful for my medical background and for my ability to have that gut intuition and experience as a healthcare provider in getting him the testing he needed and making sure he got the correct diagnosis and treatment. I think some of you know that I had talked on one of the other Facebook Lives that we were going to be sent home, and I advocated for him to get the next level testing because I knew something wasn't right. So instead of being angry at the system or mad or upset that he had to have surgery, I was so grateful we made it back from the Bahamas and he didn't have to go to the ER or have surgery in the Bahamas. I was so grateful his gallbladder didn't perforate at home and that it was during surgery and not outside of surgery. I was so grateful for the surgical team that did a phenomenal job. I was grateful for the many amazing nurses and providers we did have in the hospital. So instead of focusing on the gap or what we didn't have, or the fact that he still had to be in the hospital and he was sick, I focused on the gain. And so did my husband. And he did heal very well because of it, because it's all part of it, guys. Increased immunity is a physical benefit of practicing gratitude. Reduced inflammation. Guys, we talk about chronic inflammation all the time. All right. Increased energy. reduced blood pressure, improved chronic pain. And it's also helpful towards living a healthier lifestyle because people who are grateful tend to practice better nutrition and exercise and all the healthy lifestyle type things. Now, the mental benefits of gratitude include having improved relationships. Remember, it's going from inward focused to other focused, improved sleep, reduced stress, reduced burnout, reduced depression, reduced anxiety, improved mood, and it fosters a resilience in the face of adversity, right? It's giving you tools to help face challenges and obstacles. So gratitude and the brain. How does gratitude affect our brain? And are there specific neurological processes at play? So gratitude stimulates the production of dopamine and serotonin. We've talked about these before. They're actually neurotransmitters. I misspoke on my video. I was saying dopamine and I just blurted out hormone, and I did not mean that. I was just talking about, I think, hormones, and it came out. But dopamine and serotonin are neurotransmitters. All right. And they're associated with the pleasure and mood regulation. And additionally, they are activated in the prefrontal, blah, 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 blah. This tizzy's making me talk too fast. It activates the prefrontal cortex, which is the region of the brain responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation. So essentially, practicing gratitude rewires the brain. It rewires the brain for positivity. And that actually aligns with our understanding of neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is something I've talked about. It's something that came up in my coaching certification. There's a lot of science out there now. But our brain is not just stuck with what we've got. It actually is able to rewire and its neuron connections, okay? And so neuroplasticity, according to the journal Frontiers of Psychology, is the brain's ability to modify, change, and adapt both the structure and function throughout life and in response to experiences. So we're actually, the experiences we have, the way we respond, the things we do in life, the way we think, all those things impact the wiring and the way our brain functions. And so if we want to rewire it to be more positive and just help focus more on our overall health and happiness, we can do that intentionally by practicing. One way is by practicing gratitude. And research suggests that a daily gratitude practice does tap into neuroplasticity. The Mindfulness Awareness Research Center at UCLA actually states that gratitude does change the neural structures in the brain, and it makes us feel happier and more content. And who doesn't want that in life, especially nowadays with all the things going on? I told you guys, I rarely ever watch the news because when you put negative things in your brain, you watch it. You have to watch the things that you're inputting into your mind. So what you read, what you watch on TV, what you listen to, who you associate with, the people you hang out with. If you hang out with a group of more negative people who are just complaining about life, life's hard, but and we all sometimes need to vent. I know I used to have to do that on the mountain. I told you on my hikes. And I am a pretty positive person for the most part, but I have really intentionally improved my gratitude practice and how my mindset is. So instead of looking at things as what I don't have or what I want to get, I look at what I have presently in my life. I still have goals and things I want to achieve. I'm not just complacent, but I'm grateful for all the blessings in my life. I'm grateful for the roof over my head, the heat in the house, the central air when it's hot here in the South, my family, my husband, my career, my friends. There's so many things to be grateful for. And when you start getting in this daily practice of gratitude, it's amazing how it just changes and impacts your overall health. It's really an incredible transformation. And the world needs more of this, especially with the hard times that people are dealing with now. Being able to find the things to be grateful for really help you move through the hard. So Dr. Martin Seligman was president of the American Psychological Association in 1998, and he proposed a positive psychology approach to conditions in order to, quote, enable people to flourish to what makes people feel engaged, fulfilled, and authentically and meaningfully happy. So they actually put this in to practice called positive psychology. And this is from the coaching psychology manual that we used in our class for our certification. Okay. And gratitude is actually one of the strategies utilized in the principles of positive psychology. And then Barbara Fredrickson wrote a book in 2009 called Positivity. And in that book, she said people who flourish not only feel good, but they also do good. They have a sense of purpose or calling, and they are highly engaged in life. And I will tell you, the people I know that practice gratitude daily and that I associate within my tribe daily, those people are thriving. They are achieving many things in their health that they've set out to do. And they are impacting their world and other people's lives. It's a beautiful space to be in, and anyone can get there. You just have to be intentional. I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that. So when we practice gratitude for daily life practice, how do you cultivate it in your daily routine? So here's some gratitude tips that I came up with and that I found in the research and things that I actually practice. So to create positive emotions by being thankful every day, you can take a moment and think about the positive things that happen during the day. So maybe in the evening when you're winding down for bed, you could reflect on the day and focus on maybe 3 to 5 specific things that happened that day that you're very grateful for that were positive. You can journal. So making a habit of writing down what you're grateful for. And you want to try to list several things. This is something I like to do. So I will usually in my morning routine, I have a very specific morning routine for my health and wellness. I read the book, what's it called? I can't remember I can't remember the book right now, but when I do, I'll put it in the comments. But there's a book I read on how to have a better morning routine. I can't believe it just slipped my mind. In order to be more productive and get more things accomplished and just be in that good headspace. And so when I built out my morning routine, which I started a few years ago, and I have just slowly implemented more and more things into it, writing down things I'm grateful for in the morning has been one of the practices I focused on. And I'm getting better at being consistent with it. And I will write down 3 to 5 very specific things I'm grateful for each morning, because it forces myself to take that deeper dive and not just write the generic things. Like I'm grateful for my home. I'm grateful for my family. I'll put specific things down. Like I'm grateful for my home because it provides me a safe place, warmth, and my family enjoys coming together here for the holidays, something like that. You also want to savor your experiences. So try to notice positive moments as they are happening, and that's being present in the moment. So for instance, when I'm going on a hike or when I'm walking outdoors, I absolutely intentionally will look around and I will be grateful for the fresh air, grateful for the sun, grateful for the view. And I will say it in my head to myself, wow, the weather is beautiful today for a walk. I'm so grateful I have a career where I can get up and go for a walk in the morning, and I have the time to do that. I'm grateful that I get to be outside and not in an office space right now inside a building with fluorescent lighting. So those are some different things that you can do. Reliving the good times. So reliving a positive moment later by thinking about it or sharing it with others. That's really good because you guys know, we talk a lot about like past experiences, and we can talk about good times, but a lot of people will focus on the negative. But even in my growth in this space, I have learned to look back at things in my past. And maybe I looked at it as a negative, but now I'm spinning it and going, okay, but what was the thing I can be grateful for out of that? What came out of that I could be grateful for, and rewire my brain so I'm not so negative. So one of them, you guys may remember, we did the ice bath challenge at a retreat we went to, the cold plunge for hormesis. The stress on your body that can be a positive stress and help you build resilience. It was in a controlled setting with an instructor that's trained in this. And I don't know if you guys remember that I said when I was growing up, we took ice cold showers. We didn't have insulation in the house. So now so my kids know my biggest pet peeve is I do not want to take a cold shower. Like it traumatized me. I'm like, I only need a 5-minute shower, but that sucker's going to be hot. And if they use all the hot water, it's on like Donkey Kong. Okay. But since doing more research and finding out that that's a positive stress, I now laugh at that. I've lost the trauma from it because I look at my mom and I talk to her and I'll laugh and I'll say, Mom, You guys were just ahead of the curve. You guys were trying to give me a positive stress experience on my body called hormesis way before it was popular or in or a thing that was common. I said, you're just ahead of your time. So you guys were just helping me be more resilient in stressful situations. And now it's a joke and it doesn't have the same effect on me as it did before. And now if I get a cold shower for some reason, I'm like, well, I'm just practicing, hormesis and getting that little bit of stress so that I can be more resilient in life. So those are kinds of things that I have done in my own experiences to share with you guys. So what about gratitude in challenging times? How can gratitude be applied during tough times or moments of adversity? So when we're in challenging situations, gratitude does not dismiss difficulties. But what we're looking for is the silver lining. The silver lining when my son went through cancer treatment. The silver lining when my clinic job tried to fire me because I was taking care of my son and on family emergency leave. All the silver linings of hard things that happen. So it's not dismissing it, but finding the silver lining. And it might be the support of loved ones, the lesson learned, the strength you discovered within yourself. Gratitude provides a perspective shift that can be a source of strength during tough times. And I will tell you, it has definitely done that for me. I was talking about this book that I highly recommend you read if you haven't read it. It's called The Gap and the Gain. And it's by Dan Sullivan with Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And this book, it focuses on living in the gain instead of the gap. And the author actually states that a recent poll found only 14% of American adults say they're very happy. That makes my heart unhappy. It makes me sad to see that only 14% of Americans say that they're very happy. Part of that coincides with the unhealthy lifestyle that we know the majority of Americans live with, and how many Americans are metabolically unhealthy. It's like 88 to 92, 94%, something like that. And we've talked about that before. So part of it is what most Americans in the culture we live in are not taking care of themselves and pouring into themselves, and we're just exhausted and trying to survive every day. And so when we talk about the food that we eat and the life we live that's more sedentary and inundated with all this negative stuff, of course we're not going to be happy. But there is a way to pivot and work on that. Now, I know that there's chemical imbalances and genetics and people who are clinically depressed and have severe mental health issues, and I'm not taking that lightly. I absolutely know that there is a place and people need to get with professional counseling and psychiatrists and may need medications, even if it's just for a short term, may need medications for a long term. I have family members that go through this. So I'm not opposed to that or belittling that in any way. But in the general rule of thumb, for all the unhappiness and things that are going on in our nation, in our society, in our culture in the United States, there are a lot of things we can do to improve ourselves and also help our families and our loved ones. Okay. So in this book, this is a quote from the book: being in the gain means you measure yourself backward against where you were before. You measure your own progress. How many of you look back at where you started and appreciate the progress and the journey you've achieved? That was not something I was good at. They talk about that in this book, that overachievers, type A driven people tend to live in the gap more because we're always looking for the next thing we're going to achieve. And I will say that was definitely me. As much as I'm a positive person for the most part, I'm very hard on myself, and I was always looking for the next thing, and I wasn't happy where I was at because I had more goals to achieve and things I wanted to do. But when you stop and look at where you started and where you're at, and you enjoy those steps, I know we talk about the visual of the ladder, where you have the ladder with small steps in between, and you have the ladder with those big steps in between. You need to appreciate and have gratefulness and gratitude for those baby steps, those little steps you took along your journey. Okay. Because when you look at that and appreciate that, it changes your perspective, and it also helps you be more productive towards achieving more because you see all that you've already accomplished and you're grateful for it. And it has been a huge impact in my life. It really, reading this book has shifted my brain focus. So I will stop each day and go, okay, your head just went into the gap. you need to think about the gain. You need to focus on gratitude. What have you achieved? What's the gain from this? So when we are in the gap, they say, quote, failing to appreciate who we are and what we've done to this point is living in the gap. When happiness is tied to something in the future, then your present is diminished. Being in the gap creates a scarcity mindset. When you focus on gratitude and practice it daily, you're living in the gain. So this is something as far as like career achievements, things I've done in my life that and even my health journey, being grateful and looking back at where I started, where I'm at, and really living in the gain instead of the gap, and catching myself when I'm in the gap and switching myself to being in the gain and finding the silver lining and appreciating what I've accomplished. And that does not mean I don't have goals and big vision. It just means I'm actually going to go further and faster, probably, because I can appreciate the journey I've had already and I'm not getting burned out. I know that there's so much more I can do because I've done all these things and it's built more confidence in me. So guys, in wrap up, consider incorporating gratitude into your daily life. It really is a simple and free way to improve your health, wellness, and overall well-being. Yet it's a profound step toward a healthier, more fulfilling existence. Remember, and this is a quote, and I don't know who said it, but everything in life happens for you, not to you. Remember, I'm on a mission to positively impact your health through education and coaching to create generational health and a health span that equals your lifespan. Reach out to me for more info on how I can help you on your personal health journey. Until next time, stay mindful, stay grateful. I really appreciate you guys. I am grateful for each of you for leaning in, and I hope it brought you value. Thanks again, guys.